A funnel cake stand in Cincinnati. Behind the counter, a man in regular clothes flipping batter and handing out orders. The store posted it. We've decided to hire at Ochocinco today. Fans lined up. A 4-year-old got a strawberry funnel cake and called his dad. The clip went viral. You'd assume it's a local guy on a regular shift, right? That man is Chad Johnson, Ochocinco, 6-time NFL Pro Bowler, who earned nearly $49 million and saved more than 80% of every dollar he made. Nobody paid him to be there. The question isn't how Chad Johnson got rich. It's why someone this wealthy moves like the most ordinary guy in the room.
I've been driving one same car since 2006.
Is it the brand? Is it calculated? Or did growing up in Liberty City make everything else feel pointless? That answer starts with a grandmother who drove him to every football field in Florida. Liberty City, Miami, a neighborhood Sports Illustrated once called hard as asphalt. Crime-ridden, underfunded, and by most accounts a difficult place to grow up, but also a neighborhood with a habit of producing NFL players. Chad Javon Johnson was born here on January 9, 1978, with Bahamian roots in his family. His father, Sam Brown, was incarcerated for drug offenses throughout Chad's childhood. His mother, Paula Johnson, left when Chad was 5 years old. She packed his younger brother Chauncey, boarded a 3-day Greyhound bus to Los Angeles, and left Chad behind. Her words to a 5-year-old as she walked out: "I know you're okay here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Why would I take you? I'm leaving you here with everything you need." He was left with his maternal grandmother, Bessie Mae Flowers, a longtime educator and counselor, a woman who ran a 1-story bungalow in Liberty City and kept flags of every NFL team in her bedroom. Chad called her Mama. She drove him to every football field in Florida. She was not a backup plan. She was everything. Cincinnati is all I know, but the only place to start is Liberty City. He shared a 1-bedroom apartment growing up with his grandmother, uncle, and cousin. Transferred to Santa Monica College in California, then caught the attention of Oregon State head coach Dennis Erickson. On April 21, 2001, the Cincinnati Bengals called his name with the 36th overall pick in the second round of the NFL draft. Chad watched it happen from his grandmother's bungalow in Liberty City. That single-story house in one of Miami's toughest neighborhoods was where he heard his name called. He didn't move out of it until his 4th NFL season. The NFL career was a decade of controlled chaos, extraordinary on the field, deliberately invisible off it. Johnson became one of the most technically gifted receivers of his era. 3 first-team All-Pro selections, 6 Pro Bowls, and in 2006 he led the entire NFL in receiving yards. His 2005 season record of 1,432 receiving yards for the Bengals was his own record to break. He caught 766 passes for 11,059 yards and 67 touchdowns over 11 seasons. In 2008, he legally changed his surname to Ochocinco, Spanish for 8'5", his jersey number, then changed it back to Johnson in 2012. He was traded to the New England Patriots in 2011, played in Super Bowl 46, spent time in the CFL, played soccer briefly for a Mexican club. Across all of it, the persona was loud, creative, and impossible to ignore. But here's what the persona was covering: a man who was building something off the field that looked almost nothing like what he was doing on it. When Chad Johnson signed his first Bengals contract in 2001, he made a decision that almost no NFL rookie makes. He didn't rent an apartment. He didn't buy a house. He moved into the stadium. You gotta remember, I stayed at the stadium the first 2 years because I didn't want to spend no money. What's the point? Why are you telling me to go rent a house, go buy a house, or go rent a condo when everything I need is right here in the facility at Paul Brown? Showers, cafeteria, TV, couch, gaming system. What's the point? After the stadium years, he moved back into his grandmother's house in Liberty City, stayed there until his 4th NFL season. While other players were buying Lamborghinis and Rolexes, Chad was wearing chains from Claire's, the teen mall jewelry store. Cubic zirconia instead of diamonds. Nobody knew. I never bought real anything when I was playing. What was the point? He flew Spirit Airlines, exit row, window seat. While the rest of the league was booking first class or chartering private jets, the 6-time Pro Bowler was in a middle seat at gate B12.
Make enough money I can fly
Fly private?
Yeah.
Shh, I ain't flying private. I'm Spirit. Dougie, what I fly, Dougie?
He leased his exotic cars instead of buying them. He wore the same outfits repeatedly. He interned at Morgan Stanley to learn how money actually worked. By the end of his career, he claimed to have saved more than 80% of his NFL earnings, on nearly $49 million over 11 seasons. That's a number most financial advisors would struggle to achieve for their clients. His philosophy: why am I driving a Rolls-Royce when I'm Ocho? Why am I buying a $50,000 to $80,000 watch? Time is free, so what am I paying for? There's nothing I can buy that's bigger than my name alone. That last line is the key. He understood that the name Ochocinco was already worth more than any car or watch, and that understanding came directly from growing up with nothing to fall back on if the money ran out. There's a pattern to how Chad Johnson spends money. The meal is always cheap. The tip is always extraordinary. $4.28 at Turkey Leg Hut in Houston. Tip: $1,000. $24 at Stephanie's Restaurant in Greensboro, North Carolina, where he writes on the bill, "I once scored 6 touchdowns in Madden using myself." Tip: $1,000. The Bible verse he references reads, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." He captions every single one with it. When the COVID pandemic hit in 2020 and restaurants were forced to close and reopen, he drove to Havana's Cuban cuisine and left a $1,000 tip with a note that read, "Congrats on reopening. Sorry about the pandemic. Hope this helps. I love you." He tweeted the receipt. He left before anyone could thank him. In June 2020, when the federal government stalled on stimulus checks, he announced he would be giving out his own. He posted a screenshot of his Cash App balance, $245,000, and told fans with financial need to send him their handles. The Giving Back to Stephanie's Restaurant in Greensboro is an annual stop. He goes every year when he visits the AAU Junior Olympic Games at NCA&T University. He shows up, orders something cheap, tips big, writes Proverbs 11:25, and moves on. This is not a one-time moment of generosity. This is a standing practice across cities, across years, always directed at the person serving him, the person most likely to have started exactly where he did. Everything traces to the same origin. A boy whose father was in prison and whose mother left at 5, boarding a bus with his brother and leaving him in a one-bedroom apartment in one of Miami's toughest neighborhoods, with a grandmother who drove him to every football field in Florida. He grew up watching those NFL flags on the bedroom wall and dreaming about something most people in Liberty City never got close to. When he made it, when the Bengals called his name 36th overall and he sat in that bungalow and heard it, he made a private decision. He wasn't going to spend the money on things that disappeared. He was going to make the name worth more than any purchase could be. He was going to stay close to where he came from. The stadium years weren't just about saving money. They were about staying in the work, staying close to the game, refusing to let comfort make him soft. His grandmother hadn't had the luxury of comfort, and she built everything he is. He wasn't going to dishonor that by splurging on things that didn't matter. The fake jewelry wasn't embarrassing. It was a statement. He knew what was real and what was performance. Most of the league was performing wealth. He was building it. And when the career was over, when the touchdowns stopped and the paychecks stopped, the man who ate $3 meals and tipped $1,000 was the one still standing. So why is Chad Johnson so rich, but lives like an ordinary man? Because he learned in Liberty City that the ordinary life is not the lesser one. His grandmother ran a one-bedroom apartment with 4 people in it and drove him to every field in Florida. She didn't have luxury. She had commitment. That's what he watched. That's what he became. He saved more than 80% of his career earnings, not because he was cheap, but because he understood what so many players never do. The money doesn't last forever. The name does. He put his value in something no one could repossess. The funnel cake stand wasn't a PR move. He didn't call ahead. He just showed up, tied on an apron, and started flipping batter for strangers. Because the person behind that counter is starting from the same place he started from. And if he can make their afternoon the way Bessie Mae Flowers made his childhood, then that's what the money is for. We live in a world where athletes are expected to show the money, to post the watch, the car, the jet, the table, to prove the wealth is real. Chad Johnson never needed to prove it. By luxury standards, he may look like he left it all on the table. By the standards of a kid from Liberty City who just needed someone to show up, he is one of the richest people the NFL has ever produced. Not because of the money, because he never forgot what it was for. By luxury standards, he may look like he never fully cashed in on what the NFL gave him. By the standards of a kid from Liberty City whose grandmother drove him to every football field in Florida, he has cashed in on every single thing that actually matters. Not the rolls, Not the watch, not the private jet, the name, the gratitude, and the knowledge that the server at that diner is going home tonight with something that changes everything.